Chapter 30. Shit! Jeremy screams out as the bright white light enclosing him blinds him to his surroundings. Searching around for a few moments, his eyes are slow to begin regaining their vision. Reaching outward, searching for something, anything at all, his fingertips graze a wall. He rides the wall forward, walking until his knee knocks into something solid ahead of him, and his hands find their way to a smooth, horizontal surface. No, 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 he repeats to himself as his eyes regain focus, and it clicks in his mind what has happened. Staring before him, into the mirror with no reflection, he sees just an emptiness that goes on for eternity. Jeremy pounds his fist onto the hard, flat surface of the countertop to the sink he has come to disdain as of late. "Well?" he calls out. "Where the hell are you?" Jeremy screams. Suddenly, a face appears from nothingness in the mirror before him. It is his face, only this face is paler, darker around the eyes, and twisted up in disappointment. "Jeremy," he begins, with a voice much deeper than normal, and it sounds to be coming from every angle. "You shouldn't stay away from me for so long," he continues as he glides closer to the mirror's surface. "You cannot escape me, because I own your unconscious mind." Jeremy jumps back with fear in his eyes. It is only now that he comes to the realization of what may be occurring out in the real world at this very moment. Falling to his knees, he clenches the countertop sharply with his fingers, expecting the worst. His eyes clasp tightly. He pounds the countertop so furiously that his fists quickly grow red and numb, putting horrible images of death and brutality to the back of his mind. He rises slowly to his feet to meet the face of his jaggedly smiling counterpart. "What are you doing right now?" Jeremy questions the reflection with anger in his voice, but terror in his eyes. "Who are you hurting?" Jeremy screams out as tears well up and begin to slowly make their way to his cheek. The reflection just smiles at him for a moment before answering. "Now, Jeremy, I can't tell you that," he taunts before letting out a gentle laugh. "You will see it in due time, my good boy," he says, tilting his head, baiting Jeremy into further conversation. "Tell me, you sick bastard!" Jeremy's voice cracks as he screeches out at the evil within the glass. "Tell me what you've done!" he says, slowly reverting into a weak, sobbing state. "Jeremy, my boy," the reflection responds, raising his arms and placing his finger up to the surface of the glass. "Don't you mean..." His smile grows unnaturally large, mimicking a Cheshire cat. "What you've done?" he says, laughing and disappearing into the darkness behind him. The ripples caused by his finger's contact with the mirror cause chaos on its surface, until they find their way to the edges. It is then that the waves grow large enough to overtake the mirror and begin pouring out onto the walls and countertop. Wave upon wave grows and tumbles over everything around him, until the floor itself becomes permeable to Jeremy's body and his feet begin slowly sinking down. "Wait!" Jeremy screams out as his body is sucked down deeper into the linoleum quicksand. "What the hell?" he cries out as he reaches forward for the countertop, struggling to hold himself above the surface of the liquid floor until the solid counter below his fingers slowly begins to sag and melt into the floor with him. "No!" he screams out. "Help!" He tries to call out, but his head is completely engulfed. With arms stretched upright, he begins to claw around, looking for an escape. Any escape at all. Jeremy looks around in the darkness for anything, but in this blackest pitch there is nothing to see. Falling now, he screams out, but no sound escapes his lips. Turning head over feet over and over, he has lost all sense of up and down, until his tremendous fall comes to an abrupt end. His body laying broken, now in the darkness, he silently cries out in pain. "You have become so weak, Jeremy." He hears his own voice calling to him from the darkness. "It won't be long before I have full control." Jeremy feels his body being raised. Suddenly, something begins to come into focus. It's a blue fog, but it begins to take shape. It twists around, growing into a rectangular object. A door. "Your father put up a much greater fight, Jeremy, my boy," the voice continues. "It took so long to get control of him. And once I did, he escaped in such a cowardly fashion. But we did have a little fun there at the end." The voice trails off with an evil laugh as Jeremy finds himself being pulled closer to the door. A loud banging sound comes from within the fog door, but Jeremy cannot reach out to open it, nor can he ask who it is, though the answer to the question seems to be the least of his worries at this time. The banging continues on as some fog from the door splits off and begins to form a new shape behind him. As it moves closer toward the door, it slowly shapes into a male figure. Jeremy cannot see who it is from behind, but the figure reaches out and opens the door. In quickly bursts another figure of fog as the door fades away into them both, bringing more detail to each of them. The new figure Jeremy recognizes right away. It is his father, and though the fog's picture is imperfect, he does appear to be standing there, half asleep. His motions are zombie-like as he forces the other man into the blackness with all the fog dissipating in the struggle. The fog returns and slides up and around him. It draws out walls, 2 chairs, and a desk. The fog has reformed into a room, one Jeremy recognizes well. It's one of the rooms he saw while in custody. It is the room he saw in the images showing the blood-stained scene leading to the disappearance of Dr. Donis. Into focus come the 2 men again. This time, Jeremy can easily make out the second man as the missing Dr. Donis. There's a struggle between the 2 men, as faint shouts can be heard as if coming from the distance, even though these images are right next to him. Jeremy wishes he could turn away, close his eyes, do anything to escape this scene. He in no way cares to see this, a pale blue image of the murder of Stephen Donis. Jeremy's heart sinks within his chest as he sees his father pull a sharp object from his pants and quickly jab it into the lower abdomen of the doctor. Dr. Donis grips the shoulders of Jeremy's father as he slowly and silently falls to his knees, his face askew in pain and horror. The object is removed and plunged harshly into the side of the throat of its victim, causing blood to spray over Jeremy's father, who seems to bask in it. Smiling as it fills his face and chest, as Jeremy waits there in horror, he watches the old man fall to the floor, and his father grab him by the ankle and begin to drag him. The fog disperses once again. After only a moment of escape from it, Jeremy watches as it comes together into a single sphere, which then begins to re-image slowly into the rock formation Jeremy sees every night from his bedroom window in the distance. A piece breaks off, flies out past Jeremy, and forms a picture of Jeremy's father dragging the body toward the formation. A streaking blue stain below them, following their every move. After a few seconds, it disperses again and comes together to show the rock formation directly in front of him. His father places one final rock on the formation and pauses. Slowly he turns around, stares Jeremy in the eyes, smiles, and explodes without a sound into eternal darkness. Jeremy blinks and finds himself in the dream bathroom again. Turning to the mirror, he is taken aback to see the reflection is no longer his own. Standing alone before him is his father, with a twisted smile on his blood-soaked face. Cocking his head to the side, his father suddenly lunges at him, smacking his hands and head against the surface of the glass. The mirror explodes into Jeremy's face, and he frightfully falls to the floor. Breathing heavily, he slowly rises to his feet, using the handle of the door behind him. As he stands, he comes to meet his own gaze where the mirror should be, only this time with no surface between them. There he stands, covered completely in blood. He frowns as tears begin to clear his cheeks of the red liquid. The bloody Jeremy raises his arm forward, with a sharp object from the fog in his hands. Both look down at it, and then again at each other. The bloody Jeremy stares at Jeremy for a few seconds before opening his mouth. "Do you now understand?" he asks as everything fades to darkness around him once again. It is then that Jeremy realizes everything. He knows how everyone has been dying. He knows who is truly to blame. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying the story and how it's going, please subscribe so you can get every chapter as it comes through. Discuss in the comments, plot threads, and where you think the story's going. Share with anybody you think might find it interesting. Until then, I'll see you next video.